One good decision made by Africans after colonial rule is the establishment of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. Did you know that the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement is set to become the world's largest free trade area since the establishment of the World Trade Organization in 1994? This African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement will include 55 countries and over 1.2 billion people, with a combined economy of about $3.4 trillion. This has the potential to improve the lives of 30 million people by lifting them out of extreme poverty. Additionally, approximately 68 million people could see an increase in their daily income by $5.50. The African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement was launched as an initiative during the 18th Ordinary Session of the Assembly of Heads of State and Government of the African Union held in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. The main objective of the agreement is to create a free trade area that will eventually evolve into a common market by enabling the unrestricted movement of goods, people, and capital between the participating African countries. This ambitious project has the potential to revolutionize the African economy and boost intra-African trade by removing trade barriers and promoting economic integration throughout the continent. The judicious objectives in the policy framework are to integrate and liberalize markets to enhance competitiveness, encourage industrial development through diversification, achieve social-economic development, improve upon gender equality, embark on structural transformation, encourage regional value chain, ensure food security, outpace agricultural development, and serve as a bridge to existing shortfalls, hindering intense trade across the regional economic communities. The African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement is, a significant initiative aimed at promoting economic growth and development across the African continent. The agreement is built around three fundamental protocols, namely, the Protocol on Trade in Goods, the Protocol on Trade in Services, and the Protocol on Rules and Procedures on the Settlement of Disputes. The Protocol on Trade in Goods seeks to create a liberalized market for goods across the continent. This will help to promote intra-African trade and support the development of regional value chains. The Protocol on Trade in Services aims to enhance the competitiveness of African services in the global market by opening up the African services market to foreign competition. The Protocol on Rules and Procedures on the Settlement of Disputes sets out the legal framework for resolving disputes arising from the implementation of the Free Trade Agreement. This is an essential component of the agreement as it helps to ensure that disputes are resolved fairly and transparently. The Free Trade Agreement is expected to have a significant impact by promoting trade within the African continent and eliminating trade barriers. This is predicted to result in a reduction in poverty levels, the creation of new employment opportunities, and the acceleration of economic growth and development across the continent. According to a report by the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development in 2020, intra-regional trade within Africa is consistently below 19% of total trade, in contrast to Europe, Asia, and America, where intra-regional trade percentages are 68%, 59.6%, and 54% respectively. This substandard trade flow within Africa is attributed to various factors, such as multiple tariffs, non-tariff barriers, limited diversification of economies, inadequate transport infrastructure, insufficient access to capital, relatively high cost of electricity, and the compounding effect of sovereign currencies. Africa failed to achieve the 7% growth rate target for the 8th Sustainable Development Goal due to barriers that result in high levels of unemployment and retarded economic development. The free trade was proposed to address these issues of intra-trade among African countries by gradually removing all trade barriers. The free trade can boost trade by over 52% if barriers are removed by 2022. Phase 1 includes trade protocols, customs cooperation, and rules of origin. The AU activated 5 operational instruments, including rules of origin, digital payment system, and the African Trade Observatory. Negotiations are currently underway for Phase 2 of the policy initiative, covering important aspects such as investment, competition, and intellectual property. The goal was to complete negotiations and ratify the agreement by the end of 2020, to implement the policy by January 1st. To ensure that the policy delivers relatively greater welfare, there is a need to actively involve the private sector by establishing regional economic communities, or RECs, cartels of domestic investors to intensify investment in the production of goods assigned to the rule of origin. This will encourage the production of high-quality goods that meet international standards and boost local economies. Furthermore, there is a need for policy initiatives to prevent trade deflection, particularly in the early stages of implementation. One such measure is to prevent foreign investors from shipping goods to low-tariff countries and later transshipping to high-tariff countries at a tariff-free rate. This will ensure that the policy does not lead to the exploitation of loopholes by foreign investors, which could result in a significant loss of revenue for the domestic economy. Additionally, it is essential to agree on a convertible currency of a member state as the dominant trading currency, to avoid exerting downward pressure on domestic currencies. This has the potential to adversely affect the standard of living of the country's population. Therefore, it is imperative to take measures that ensure the policy is implemented effectively and efficiently, and its benefits are fully realized.